Glad you could join us for another edition of American RVer. On this show, Peggy shows you something unique that you may not have thought about before: RV dash covers. These carpet covers not only improve the look of your dash, but they protect your dash from heat, prevent dog and cat nails from piercing the vinyl, and reduce glare. They are reasonably priced, and you can even make your own pattern, which Peg will show you. So check out this edition of American RVer.
Welcome to this edition of American RVer. I'm Peggy Gritch. Thanks for joining us this month. As full-time RVers, there are lots of things that we think we need to do to our RV to improve its livability. And now that we have a pet, one of the things we're thinking about is putting on a front RV dash cover. Now, I know a lot of you travel with pets, some big, some small, and sometimes some of those smaller pets, or maybe even a cat, dog, like to go up on that dash area. And if your dash is like mine, it's made out of a vinyl, and those little pet claws can make little indentations into that vinyl, which can damage the vinyl. So now you're looking at a repair for vinyl because of these pets that you love. So one option to take care of that would be to put a carpeted pet dash cover over the top of the dash, and that also will help reduce some glare. Say you're driving down the road, that sun is beating in, that light bounces up off the dash into your eyes. It's also going to help with dust and dander. Of course, you've got your pet up there. Lots of other reasons to have a dash cover. So we went online to rv-covers.com. Now let me tell you a little bit about RV dash covers. Danny Tuller we met in Yuma, and he's the owner of the company. And he's been in business, since the 20s as Action Auto, and this is a division of that company. So Danny was talking to us about RV dash covers, and he introduced us to his website, and we went on and we took a look at it, and we said, you know, maybe that's something we should do. So we filled out the form to get an estimate and see if they had a pattern for our RV. Now they've got thousands of patterns, but alas, they did not have one for a 2006 Monaco Camelot. So we got on the phone, and using Skype, he showed me how to make a dash cover pattern that we could then send to him so that they could make the dash cover for us. So if that ever happens to you and you decide to want to add a dash cover to your RV, now this would be good for a Class C, you could use it for your automobile. Hey, if you got an airplane, they'll do dash covers for airplanes. If they don't have a pattern, what you can do is get 3 simple items, and you can make your own pattern, send it in to them, and you'll have a completed dash cover. So the first item is going to be tinfoil. Any brand, doesn't matter. I just went to the dollar store. It's a heavy-duty tinfoil. The reason you use tinfoil is because that's going to actually mold to the shape of the dash, because you know every dash is not flat across, and you want the RV cover makers to know where all those indentations are and what shape that dash cover needs to be. The second item you're going to need is some masking tape or some kind of paper tape, because once we've laid out all of the tinfoil, we want to cover it with the tape, which will help keep its shape. And of course, this is a very inexpensive item as well. The third thing you will need is simply a black marker. And what that's going to do is going to allow you to indicate where different demarcations are. Maybe your vents, maybe some indentations. For example, on our RV, we have a little indentation here for placing things, and we don't want our cover to just simply cover that up. We want to actually come down and come across and still have that same shape of our dash. So what I'm going to do is just show you how to make a pattern in case that's something that you need. Now before you can lay your foil out on your dash, I need to mention that you should take off anything that you have on your dash. Now you know who you are. You keep little decorations up on your dash. All of that has to come off. If you've got a GPS up there, if you've got a backup camera up there, a tire pressure monitoring system up there, take all of that off first. You're going to put that back on once you get your dash cover back in place. So we're simply going to take our foil, and one thing I want to mention is you can see where my sidewall comes down and hits the dash. Well, I want to leave a little extra foil on the edge, you know, just to give kind of an overlap, just like, okay, if you were sewing, you would have a selvage, you would have something overlap. Same thing with the front. You're going to need to decide how far down you want that dash cover to come. In my case, it's going to come down to this line right here. That's a very nice demarcation point for the end of my dash cover and the beginning of my vinyl. So not only am I going to leave some space up along the side edge of the wall, I'm also going to leave an edge down below that particular line. And then we'll go back later and we'll show exactly where that line is for the people that are making the dash covers themselves. So again, the first thing, now it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be one long piece. You can do your foil in sections because it's kind of inconvenient to keep holding on to the box while you're trying to manipulate the foil. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to do this front section. So you can see that I've left, I don't know, 2.5, 3 inches, something like that, around that front and up along that edge. So I'm basically just going to press it in place and it will hold. And you can see that I've got that indentation there, so I'm just going to press that in around. It doesn't have to be pretty, it's okay. And again, go up along the edge, leave that part sticking up, go right to that crease where you want that dash cover to stop. So just make sure that you've got that overlap going up the side of your A-pillar column. Just crease it in there. And again, we're just going to make a little indentation here where I want my RV dash cover to stop. You can see that coming around up towards the front, I've got my instrument cluster. I am going to press that foil down into that space. And again, I'm going to have my dash cover stop right here. So even though this overlaps, don't worry about that. We're just going to we'll be making a mark later on to show where that stopping point is. And there will be places where you have uneven surfaces. And the main thing is just to even it out and have a nice line that goes across. So basically that's going to be my first piece. Now RV dash covers will not only reduce glare, but they'll also help absorb some of that heat that comes through the windshield. And you know, we have the MCD shades, which we absolutely love, and that blocks a lot of the heat. But a lot of times if you don't have those, that sun is coming in and hitting directly on the dash, and it's bouncing off and the heat's coming into the coach. So having an RV dash cover does really make a difference with that. It'll help absorb that heat here instead of having it bounce back in. So I'm going to get another piece of foil now, and I'm going to do the back side, and then we're going to go across to the other side of the dash. Okay, and again I'm just going to cut off a piece so I don't have to hold on to that box the whole time. Do just a little bit of an overlap. Now, it's very possible that you'll never have to do this because they'll have a pattern for your particular dash. So this is just in case you don't have one for your coach. Now again, we're up in the corner where the windshield meets the side wall. And this dash cover is going to go all the way down to the glass on the bottom on the front side. So I want to make sure I leave enough foil up over here that I can still have an overlap at the front when I'm ready to push that, that dash cover down to the front side. So I'm going to leave that overlap. And again, I'm just going to press it in place. That's the nice thing about tin foil is it is malleable. You can put it any way you need to. So I'm basically covering up my little indentation on the dash. And like I say, the first step is going to be just to press everything in place and make sure you've got your whole dash completely covered. Now, we're going to overlap a lot of pieces, and if you can see here, I've got a little bit of a gap, so I'm going to go ahead and overlap it with another piece of foil. That also doesn't matter. But one thing that I found helpful when I do mine is actually take a little bit of that tape and just tack your pieces together. You don't need to have all these individual pieces moving around and creating an issue for you later on. So I'm gonna, when I have an overlap, I'm just gonna put a little bit of tape in between the pieces just to hold them in place, and then just keep going. Down on that front edge, what you'll probably want to do is when you decide how far out that carpet is going to go, I would bring it all the way out either to the edge of the rubber or the edge of the glass, and just make sure again you leave an edge sticking up so that we can have enough room to be able to mark where you want the edge of that carpet to be for your particular pattern. Now you may feel like you're a little bit of a contortionist because you have to get over that dash cover to reach down in the front. So if you're not comfortable with that, get someone to help you do that. But the main thing is just to get the shape of what your dash is so that it's very clear where all those bumps are. We're going to talk about vents a little bit later. One thing RV dash covers will do is prevent a little heat damage on the vinyl of your dash because it's going to absolutely protect that. Also, if you have an older coach and you've already got some cracks, just putting a dash cover on the top will actually dress that up and make that part of your coach look new again. With tinfoil, you actually, may not have to use a full sheet. So I've got a section here that's not very wide, that's not covered. So I'm just going to get my tinfoil in half. It doesn't have to be pretty. And I'm going to use that to cover that open space. And by the way, it doesn't matter whether the shiny side is up or the shiny side is down, because all this now is going to get covered with the masking tape. And we'll do that next. So the same thing on this side, we want to get up to that edge and we want to leave a selvage up along the edge and overlap. I'll have to go back and put another little piece down in there, and then we've got a couple little sections here I need to fill in. And then we're almost done and ready for the next step. Now you may have some vents on the top of your dash. I have these little round ones. I have one here. I also have a little light fixture over here. You may have some vents that go across the top, and I have vents across the front. Obviously, we don't want to cover these with a carpet. So what we need to do is be very clear about where those vents are. So even though you're going to cover them up completely, what you're going to do is press that foil around them so you know exactly where the vents are. And then we're going to take a marker after we finish the next step, and we're going to mark off where each of those items are so we know where to cut out that carpet. So we'll be back in just a moment, and I'll show you the next step in creating your own RV dash cover pattern.
We'll be right back and show you the finished dash cover.
Want to replace your halogen or fluorescent lights with cool, energy-efficient LEDs? Then check out www.ledrvlighting.com. They specialize in interior LED RV lighting. With low prices, a good selection, and fast delivery, you can't beat them. You can even get LED tubes that directly replace your fluorescent lights, quick and easy. Go to www.ledrvlighting.com, your best source for RV LED lights. The dash doesn't look that attractive, and it did take a little bit of time to put all that foil out, but the next step is just as important. What we're going to do is take our tape, and the whole surface of that foil is now going to be covered with the masking tape. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow that foil to remain in the correct shape for the dash cover. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put tape across the whole of the dash, including a little bit of the overlap, and that's the next step. So I don't think you need to watch me put tape on everything, but that's essentially what we're doing. Overlapping the tape, creating that final step of the pattern before we actually get to the marking. Well, that was a little bit of a job. So just have patience and take breaks often so you don't hurt your back, because you know you're leaning over that steering wheel to get to the dash. But once you have that in place, you've essentially developed a mold for what your dash cover is going to look like. Now what you're going to need to do is tell the construction people how to make your dash and where you want that to end. So we've got our Sharpie, and basically what we're going to do is, I've got a little ridge right here. I'm just going to draw a line right along that ridge because this is where I want my carpet to stop. I don't want it to come over the front of the dash panel. So I'm going to mark that. I'm also going to mark along the edge of the bottom of that dash hump so they know where that seam is, and that's going to go all the way around to the other side. And then remember we talked about the vent covers, or actually the little vents. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line around the outside of that vent so that we know exactly where that needs to be cut out. Another area that I want to have cut out, and I want to let you know that you're going to use a dash line and you're going to use a solid line in different applications. Wherever the dash carpet is going to be cut out, you're actually going to use a solid line. And I'm going to cut mine all the way across because of this light fixture, and I'm going to draw a line around the light fixture as well so they know exactly where to cut that. I have a solid line around my vent, and then around my dash I'm actually going to do a hash line there, but it's going to be a solid line up front. Then the other thing is, and since we can't get it on video very well, Jim's going to show you with some of the pictures that I've taken around my front vents. Those are also going to be cut, so I'm going to draw around those vents so they know where to cut that out. And then what I'd like to do is let's go over to the passenger side and I'll show you how we're going to handle that depression on the front of our dash. All right, the last piece for marking, we've marked along the dash. We have a hash mark along the back side of the dash hump, and now I'm going to do a hash mark along the top of my depression in my dash, because it's not really getting cut out, but they need to know where that seam is going to be so they can create that same space. I'm doing a dash along the top edge, and then I'm also going to do a dash along that bottom inside edge so that they know exactly how big that piece is and where it angles. So I'm just doing a dash all the way around, and then that should do it. So I want to mention one more thing on that little vent cover that we cut out. I put a little V on there, and all my vents up in the front, I put a little V there so that they know that those are vents. I have put a line all the way along the edge down to the front and along the front edge of where the carpet's going to be, and essentially that is the pattern. So if I can get myself to stand up here, the final thing to do is take it off, and you'll notice that it'll be rather stiff. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to just fold it up into a box, and you're going to ship it to RV Dash Covers. And when you get it back, you're going to have a carpet that matches your dash exactly. Be sure you label your dash cover pattern, because when it comes in they need to know what RV it belongs to. So we've put in, it's a Roadmaster chassis, the color is vanilla, is a 2006 Monaco Camelot diesel with a front door. That helps them know what that pattern is and what it needs to look like. So if you have want more information about RV dash covers, go to rv-covers.com. There is an email address there, there's an 800 phone number there, and you're probably wondering how much this all costs, because you are going through a lot of time to put that pattern together. It's around $249.95 plus a little bit of shipping. Ships out of Yuma. It's a U.S. product. We chose a vanilla color rather, and we're excited to put that on. So we'll show you that next. I'm excited because our RV dash cover came in today. It came in a nice compact box, very lightweight, easy to maneuver. Came with instructions and some Velcro strips, which we're going to use to attach that Velcro to the dash so the dash cover can be put in place. First thing you're going to want to do, however, is clean your dash with soap and water, because if you've used any cleaning products and has any oils on there, the sticky back Velcro isn't going to stick very well. So clean that, lay the dash cover out over the expanse of your dash, and then what you're going to do is just press it into place. You can see here's my depression. Those were the lines that I made, and it comes all the way over to the edge, comes down to the front. And what I'll do is I'll put some little pieces of Velcro, like right here in this corner, probably in the middle, and over here. And it looks great. So I also want to show you the other side, so you can see how they cut out around that vent and around that little light switch that we talked about. Over here on the driver's side, you can see that the dash cover neatly follows the dash hump all the way down. You can see where we drew the line to cut out for the vent, and also there's a nice cutout for my instrument cluster here and for my little map light. Again, goes over the front edge of the dash, and we have holes for my defroster vents up front. I'm very excited about the RV dash cover, and I think we'll really enjoy it as we go down the road. So if you need more information about RV dash covers, you can go to rv-cover.com or call the 800 number that we have listed on the screen. And we thank you so much for watching this edition of American RVer. See you next time.